The same carry-on bag you have been flying with for years, the one that has always fit, the one that has never once been questioned, got pulled at the gate last month, not because the bag changed, not because the size limit changed, because the measuring changed. 52% of travelers have no idea any of this is happening right now, and the airlines are counting on that number staying exactly where it is. Stay with me through number 3, because that one is catching even the most experienced travelers off guard. Let's start at number 1. Here is the part that most people cannot believe when they first hear it. The size limit did not change. American, Delta, United. They all still list 22 by 14 by 9 inches. Same number it has been for years. But here is the twist nobody told you about. That measurement has always included your wheels and your handle. Always. Airlines just never enforced it. Until now. A standard 22-inch carry-on, fully packed, handle extended, wheels counted, can measure 24 to 25 inches total, which means the bag that technically never fit has been boarding flights for years on nothing but agent discretion and inconsistent enforcement. That discretion is gone in 2026. Gate agents are now pressing bags flat against the sizer. No wiggle room. No rounding down. No looking the other way. The fix is to measure your bag at home before your next trip. Not by eye, with an actual tape measure. Fully packed, handle extended all the way up. Every pocket full. If it clears the limit in that configuration, you are fine. If it does not, check it online at the advance rate during booking. It is almost always $20 to $30 cheaper than what you will pay at the gate. Picture this. You have not even boarded yet. You are still in the gate area, boarding pass in hand, completely calm, and the announcement comes over the speaker. Overhead bin space is limited on this flight. We encourage passengers to gate check now. Hold on. You have not boarded. Half the plane has not boarded. The bins are not full. They cannot be full because the plane is still boarding. Southwest and United were both documented doing this in spring 2026. The goal is to trigger voluntary gate checks before the fee mandate kicks in, before anyone can see for themselves that the bins are actually fine. Because once you voluntarily check that bag, the conversation is over. The move here is simple. Do not check anything based on an announcement made before you board. Walk on. Look at the bins yourself. If space genuinely does not exist, a crew member will tell you directly, and that mandatory gate check is free on most major carriers. The voluntary one they're encouraging you toward often is not. This is the one catching experienced travelers completely off guard. You measured your bag at home. It passed. You are confident, but you packed it differently this time. Your laptop sleeve is slightly fuller than usual. One side pocket has a charger stuffed in it. The compression strap on the front is pushing out by about an inch. You just failed the sizer. In 2026, agents are measuring the bag as it stands, not as it would stand empty, not as it looked in the product listing. Soft-sided bags with exterior pockets are the #1 victim of this rule. The pocket counts. The bulge counts. The laptop sleeve that sticks out half an inch counts. Here is the insider move that most travelers do not know. Soft-sided bags actually work in your favor here, if you use them correctly. A soft bag compresses into the sizer even when it is slightly oversized. A hard shell bag does not give it all. So if you are traveling with a soft-sided carry-on, clear every exterior pocket before you reach the gate. Everything that was in those pockets goes inside the main compartment or into your personal item. The bag that failed the sizer with full pockets will often pass it empty on the outside. You found a great fare. $79, direct flight, perfect timing. You booked it, you packed your carry-on, and you showed up at the gate, ready to go. And then you found out. That fare does not include overhead bin access. Not a reduced allowance. 0. Personal item under the seat, only. United American and several international code-share partners all now sell basic economy fares, where carry-on access is explicitly excluded, buried in the fare class details during booking, never highlighted, never bolded, never mentioned in the confirmation email. The gate upcharge to fix it on the spot, 3 times what you would have paid if you had added it online. Here is the exact check that takes 45 seconds and saves you from this every single time. Before you confirm any booking, look for the fare class description, not the price summary, the actual fare class details. If you see the words personal item only, add the carry-on fee right then, or price out a higher fare class and compare the total. A $79 fare with a $45 surprise gate fee is a $124 fare with extra stress attached. Here is something airlines will never put on their website. The sizers are not standardized. An American Airlines sizer at Dallas is a different physical unit than a Delta sizer at Atlanta. The IATA recommends 56 by 45 by 25 centimeters. But enforcement interpretation varies by carrier, by airport, and in some cases, by individual agent. A bag that passed at one airline's gate last week can fail at a different airline's gate today. Same bag, same trip, different result. This is not a glitch. It is a system without a universal standard, and that gap creates room for inconsistency that almost always lands in the airline's favor. The one-check solution that protects you everywhere. Use the most restrictive carry-on dimensions as your personal standard. Frontier and Spirit run the tightest sizers on the domestic market right now. If your bag passes their dimensions, it passes everywhere else. Build to the strictest standard, and the inconsistency stops mattering. This one deserves a moment, because the way it is sold sounds completely reasonable. Board early. Get overhead bin space. Avoid the scramble. What airlines are not saying out loud is that the scramble only exists because they made it exist. Delta and United both introduced dedicated overhead bin priority boarding tiers in 2025 and 2026. The bins filled up faster. The anxiety around carry-on space went up. The demand for early boarding went up. And then they sold you the solution to the problem they created. Here is the honest math. Early boarding on a domestic flight typically runs $15 to $25. A gate check fee on the same flight runs $40 to $75. If you are on a full flight with a carry-on you cannot afford to lose, early boarding is often the cheaper option, and it is worth running those numbers before you dismiss it. But go into it knowing exactly what you are paying for. You are not paying for comfort. You are paying for overhead bin access that used to come standard with a ticket. Now, here is the part airlines definitely do not want you to know. Because every single one of these traps has a clean, specific counter. Measure your bag at home with wheels and handle fully extended, not by eye, with a tape measure. Use a soft-sided bag. It compresses into sizers even when slightly over. Never put anything in exterior pockets at the gate. Move it all inside before you get in the boarding line. Check your fare class before you confirm any booking. Look specifically for personal item-only language. Know the tightest sizer dimensions in the market and build your packing to that standard. Run the math on early boarding versus gate check fees before you dismiss paying for position. And if you ever get flagged at the gate, ask calmly, for a supervisor enforcement is inconsistent. Agents have discretion, and a calm, prepared passenger asking a specific question gets a different outcome than someone who panics. Something shifted at airports this year, and it did not happen with a press release, a news story, or an email to your inbox. It happened quietly. Policy pages updated overnight. Gate systems got new software. Screening protocols changed between one trip and the next. 7 rules changed in 2026 that are actively affecting how people fly right now. Let's go through all 7. Most people know Real ID is a thing. What most people do not know is that showing up without one now triggers a $45 fee collected directly at the security checkpoint, not at a service counter. Not during booking. Right there in the line, shoes off, bags on the belt, with everyone behind you watching. TSA launched its Confirm ID alternative verification program in 2026, and that $45 is what it costs to use it. Airlines do not mention it at booking. Your confirmation email does not mention it. The agent is not required to warn you before it happens. Here is the 2-second check that tells you everything you need to know. Pick up your driver's license right now and look at the upper right corner. Gold star? You are compliant. You are done. No star? Make a DMV appointment before your next flight. It is a one-time fix, and $45 every single trip is not something you want on your travel budget permanently. More than 65 major airports now have biometric facial recognition cameras active at security checkpoints. Most passengers walk up, look into the camera, and assume it is mandatory. It is not. TSA's own policy says it is completely optional, but they are not required to tell you that proactively. The framing, "Please look at the camera," sounds like an instruction. It is actually an invitation you have every right to decline. If you walk through without knowing, your facial geometry is captured and stored in a federal biometric database. You cannot change your face the way you can change a password. The opt-out is simple. Before you step up to the camera, tell the agent clearly, "I am opting out of facial recognition." They will verify your ID by hand instead. It takes about 30 extra seconds. That is the entire cost of keeping your biometric data out of a permanent federal file. If you are one of the millions of travelers who chose Southwest specifically because bags fly free, this one is going to sting. That policy ended on January 27th, 2026. Southwest now charges for checked baggage up to $75 per bag each way, depending on your route. For 50 years, that free bag policy was the foundation of Southwest's brand. It built loyalty that competitors could not buy, and it ended with almost no public announcement. The travelers who got hurt most were the ones with bookings already made, purchased months in advance under the old policy. With bag fees, they never factored into the cost. Two things worth knowing right now. The Southwest Rapid Rewards credit card still includes free checked bags as a card holder benefit. If you fly Southwest even twice a year, that card immediately pays for itself. And before you book any Southwest flight going forward, price it with the bag fee included and compare it against at least one other carrier. Southwest is no longer automatically the cheaper option. The math changed the moment the policy did. This one is catching experienced United flyers completely off guard. United tightened its check-in enforcement in early 2026. Confirmed seats are now being released to standby passengers earlier than before, and the decision is made by an automated weight and balance algorithm, not a gate agent. There is no one to negotiate with. There is no call you can make once the seat is gone. The system releases it, and that is the end of the conversation. The new safe window for domestic United flights is 90 minutes before departure. International, give yourself a minimum of 2.5 hours. If you have been relying on old timing habits, cutting it close because it always worked before, add 30 minutes to whatever felt safe last year. That buffer is now the difference between your confirmed seat and a standby list on a full flight. This is the one I mentioned in the intro, and it is the one that frustrates people the most once they find out it exists. Under the Air Carrier Access Act, passengers who need additional time or assistance boarding have a legal right to pre-boarding accommodation. That right has not changed. What changed in 2026 is how strictly airlines are enforcing the requirement that you request it in advance. Last year, walking up to the gate agent and asking worked. This year, gate agents have significantly less discretion, and what worked reliably before often does not work anymore. The process now requires you to contact the airline before you reach the gate. At booking, at online check-in, or by calling the airline directly. When you call, use this exact phrase, "I am requesting a pre-boarding accommodation under the Air Carrier Access Act." That phrase triggers a formal process the agent is legally required to follow. It is not a workaround. It is written federal law, but you have to know the phrase exists before you can use it. Now, you do. This one changes how you look at every boarding gate interaction going forward. In early 2026, Frontier Airlines confirmed that gate agents receive a $10 commission for every carry-on bag they send to baggage claim from the gate. $10 per bag, per passenger. Their official explanation was that it incentivizes consistent enforcement of size requirements. What it actually creates is a financial motivation for agents to find something wrong with your bag. A wheel that barely catches the edge of the sizer. A side pocket that bulges slightly. A handle that does not fully retract. Every one of those is a judgment call. And that agent now has a $10 reason to make that call against you. There is a two-part strategy that frequent flyers use to protect themselves here. First, measure your bag at home, fully packed with handles extended and all pockets out, not by eye, with an actual tape measure. Second, arrive at the gate right as boarding begins. Agents spend the pre-boarding window actively scanning the gate area for oversized bags. By the time boarding starts, they are focused on processing passengers quickly, not on pulling bags for the sizer. Both of those things together drop your exposure significantly. Last one, and this one works entirely in your favor. Most passengers on basic economy fares assume there are no exceptions to carry-on fees. There are. Several major carriers maintain internal fee waiver programs for passengers who qualify, including travelers with specific loyalty status and those with documented medical accommodation needs. These programs are not listed on any booking page. You will not find them in the app. There is no banner during checkout that says, "You might qualify for a waiver." The only way to access them is to call the airline directly, not the chat function, not the app, the actual phone line, and ask specifically. The phrase that opens the process is this: "I would like to request a carry-on fee waiver. Can you tell me what documentation I need to qualify?" Delta and United both have accessible waiver processes right now. Most travelers have never asked the question, which means most travelers have been paying carry-on fees that they never had to pay. Let's start with something that sounds familiar, but has a twist most people are completely missing. The size limit itself has not changed. American, Delta, United, JetBlue, Alaska, they all still list the same standard: 22 inches long, 14 wide, 9 deep. That number has been around for years. You probably know it by heart. But here is what changed: how strictly they are actually enforcing it. In 2026, airlines moved from the honor system to active measurement at the gate. That metal sizer frame you have walked past 100 times without a second glance? Gate agents are using it now. Actually using it. And here is the part that catches people off guard. Those dimensions include everything: wheels, handles, every pocket that sticks out on the outside of the bag. The interior capacity of your bag is completely irrelevant. Total exterior dimensions, fully packed, fully extended, that is what gets measured. A bag that looks carry-on sized can fail the moment you account for a handle that does not fully retract or a side pocket that bulges. Before your next trip, measure your bag at home. Fully packed, handle extended, all pockets out. If it is close to the limit, assume it is already over. Okay, picture this. You found a great deal on a basic economy ticket. You saved $40 on the base fare. You are feeling smart. You pack your carry-on, head to the gate, and then a gate agent stops you. Your carry-on is not included on that ticket. On basic economy fares, sold by American, Delta, United, and others, overhead bin access only comes with an upgraded seat or a carry-on fee paid at the time of booking. Otherwise, you are personal item only. One bag, under the seat. Airlines added this quietly. The fine print says personal item only, but the booking screen does not exactly scream it at you in large bold letters. So you find out at the gate, standing at the jetway, with no cheaper options left. American charges around $40 to gate check on the spot. United is similar. And because you are already at boarding, you have lost access to the lower advance rate you could have paid online days ago. Every time you book a flight, check your fare class before you close that tab. If it says basic economy or light fare, go back and read the baggage terms fully. A $40 carry-on fee on a $79 ticket is not a deal anymore. It is an expensive lesson. This one is going to make a lot of people look at their luggage very differently. You bought a carry-on with an expansion zipper. More packing space. Smart, right? Most carry-on bags with expansion zippers sit right at the size limit in their standard configuration. The moment you zip that expansion open, even just partially, your bag gains 1 to 2 inches of depth. That is the exact difference between boarding your flight and paying a gate check fee you did not budget for. Here is the part that makes this worse. Gate agents have been trained to spot this visually. An overstuffed bag that bulges beyond its frame gets flagged immediately. Even before the sizer comes out, the visual alone is enough to get your bag pulled. And once they pull it, the outcome is already decided. That extra pair of shoes you tucked into the expanded section, they just cost you $40 to $75 at the gate. Travel with your expansion zipper closed. If you genuinely need more space, add a checked bag online at the advance rate when you book. It is almost always cheaper than what you will pay standing at the gate. This is where it gets painful. You booked with Frontier, or Spirit, or Allegiant, cheapest flight available. You are practically flying for free. You show up with your carry-on and the fee hits you like a wall. On budget carriers, carry-on bags have never been free. But in 2026, the fee ladder got steeper, and the gap between booking online and paying at the gate is bigger than most people realize. Book the carry-on online at the time of booking, around $30 to $50. Wait until the check-in counter, $50 to $75. Show up at the gate without paying, $75 to $100, per bag, per direction. Most passengers step on every rung of that ladder because they either did not read the fine print at booking or assumed they would sort it out later. Run the numbers. 2 passengers, 2 carry-ons, gate fees, round trip. You are looking at potentially $400 in bag fees on a flight you thought cost $100. When you book with a budget carrier, treat the carry-on fee as part of the base price and add it at checkout. It is always the cheapest moment to do it. Think you are safe because you only brought a personal item? This one is for you. The rule itself has not changed. Your personal item still needs to fit under the seat in front of you. But enforcement this summer is noticeably more aggressive, especially on full flights. A personal item should measure around 17 by 10 by 9 inches. The key word in that definition is under the seat, not in the overhead bin. If your personal item goes overhead, gate agents are now treating it as a carry-on. On a basic economy ticket, that triggers the gate check fee on the spot. An overstuffed backpack that is rigid, bulging, and clearly cannot compress under a seat gets pulled. The fee follows. Keep your personal item genuinely personal item sized. If your backpack is fully packed and stiff as a board, it stopped being a personal item the moment you overfilled it. You just have not been caught yet. This summer, the odds of being caught went up considerably.